Thank you so much, the three of you, for joining me today. How are we doing?
Very well.
Yay.
Thank
Doing
you.
great. Happy to be here, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So, Julie, I want to start with you. What is the story of lungs?
Yeah, the story of, first of all, I read this play 10 years ago, a little over, and thought, oh, I have to do it at some point. And so
Okay.
here we are. So the story is about a couple, I'm saying 30s, and millennial generation. And they are pondering the question of whether or not to bring a child into the world that's kind of telling them not to. And what I mean by that is climate change, what's happening with the environment, social unrest. It's like everything. So anyway, it ends up being a 30-year conversation in this
Oh, wow.
play. And what's unique about the play is its structure. It's beautifully written, and it feels to me like we are eavesdropping on their personal relationship. And we are. We learn many, many things. But this particular couple, they don't even have names. So they really do represent every man, every woman. I think that people will, when they see the play, will find themselves in it, no matter what age they are. I think it's really a universal truth within this play. So the structure lends itself to, because it is a continuous sort of conversation that comes back as they age, slower as they're younger and very quickly as they get older. But it's challenging for me, the director, and the actors, because it's not just a play that we're used to. It's a different type of storytelling. So in a nutshell, that's it.
I was going to say, that makes my next question really hard. I was going to ask Connor and Kristen who they're playing, but if they don't have names, no.
But they can answer that. They know who they're playing.
So, Kristen, let me start with you. Who's your character, and how do they factor into the narrative?
I play a very heady PhD student who is very aware of climate change and carbon emissions and our impact on the planet and where we're headed, and wanting to do the right thing, and really overthinks so many decisions in my life, including this decision to become a parent and take charge. And I know what I want, and I will figure it out if I don't.
So, like, very type A personality.
Very type A personality. I am also very type A personality, so it's a good fit.
How did I know that?
All the time that you're spending together. Connor, who are you playing?
So I am playing her partner, who is quite the opposite. He's a musician, so goes from gig to gig, gets some free records every now and then, but not really a stable job, and really gets everything from her. Everything that she's reading, he wants to then take on and read. He doesn't really have anything of his own, especially when we find out when they're apart. He really doesn't have interests. He just kind of drops everything that was troubling him from everything that he was reading when he's by himself. So he is trying to find validation in other people and doesn't really have a lot of confidence in himself.
What an interesting dynamic between the two of them that has to play out. Like, one so type A and then one that's so laissez-faire, like that. That must be an interesting dynamic for the two of you, I'd assume.
It's fun. I think it's really fun.
Well, and already there's sparks flying, so that gives you an idea when you get both of these people in the same room.
Yeah, the yin and the yang, the opposites attract, really supporting one another, and also someone who is so strong, like, when does she need help and when is he willing to give it? It's, like, do we ever want to drop those roles and maybe switch it up? And that's also on the table too.
So, Julia, you mentioned that you read this like a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
What decided that you wanted to direct the show, but also why did it feel like it was the right time to tell this story?
Well, couple things. When I read this, I immediately loved it. I identified with a a great deal of it, even though I'm another generation, um, the older generation. It still spoke truth to me, and my own experience. Um, so it was that, but it was also because I'm always looking for different types of storytelling. And here at Tipping Point, this was one that I remembered. Also because we had, when we were putting the season together, budget is always a concern. And I'd put the first 4 shows together, and we had a lot of actors already in the season. And we were like, oh, we need a 2-hander. And I immediately went, oh, I know what play it is. And also because I was kind of working on a family theme, this fit. I was like, oh yes, this is the very beginning of a family. So that was another reason. And I loved the structure of it. I loved that it focused on the rhythm and time and space, but that nothing was literal.
Okay.
I mean, even the playwright says your sound and lighting should not tell us when there's a scene change. So that was exciting to me, that we're going to create different moods with what we use and how we heighten the play, but we certainly, it's not built in that, now the light's dim for the next scene, or there's nothing like that happens within the structure. And I enjoyed that. And I thought that there were so many good gems in the play, both in the relationships and between the two of them, but also just the writing as well. I was really intrigued by it.
There's so much that's just drawn you into this project.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, what drew you to want to be in this show?
So I come from a background of a lot of musical theater and a lot of librettos, which are not, they're well written, but it's very surface level writing, very much trying to introduce you to the characters and get you from one song to the next. And so this is very much a dense text that you can do a lot of things with. And it's scary and exciting at the same time to be able to like dive into that as an actor, and play with that character and kind of like find your own way with it. And it's been very fun to like play with Kristen and listen to Julia, and that's what really drew me to the script, especially reading it. It's a lot of like dashes and overlapping lines and odd spacing. It's very cool and very different, and I'm loving it so far.
Sounds like a very technical piece.
Yes.
Both. Yeah.
Kristen, what drew you to this project?
Well, I wanted to do a 2-hander, a 2-person play for a while. And I am at a point in my life where I craved a challenge. And then I got this, and this is like the biggest challenge I've ever had. So like, careful what you ask for. But I love how intelligent this character is. This woman is so thoughtful and well-spoken, and the depth that she carries. I feel like so many female characters are not written with this depth. It is a gift. It is a gift to have this many words. And as we slowly conquer each page, it feels like a little win. It feels like in a way, like a personal victory as we take on this challenge. So it really, it's invigorating. It's something I've never worked on a piece like this before. He's not just like a pretty girl, like wants to fall in love. Like this is a woman with a point of view.
I was going to say, it feels like it's probably very rewarding to have such a challenging show like this, but there's probably also pressure being the only a 2-person show. Like that's a lot of pressure, I would assume. Yeah,
the actor nightmares are definitely happening. Like where you're on stage and you don't know what your next line is, or maybe you're not wearing pants. Like
it's one or the other.
It's always one of them.
And you only have each other.
Yeah, but we've got each other, and thank goodness we do. And so that feels like I feel supported with Connor.
Yeah, same. There's a lot of trust there. We have performed together before, so like we just have to support each other, and it's nice to know that, because then you're more comfortable doing the show, when you feel that safety.
Julia, what has been a challenge maybe for you, like directing this show? How has this challenged you?
Well, it's so funny to even talk about because we just have only had a read through and one rehearsal. So
Sure.
that's, so I'm sure all the challenges are ahead. But it's with this one, and I kind of talked about this last night when we were at our first, real rehearsal. I really, sometimes you come in and you have a basic idea of what, you've got your vision and you come in and you go, okay, I know what to do with this first scene. I know where we're going to go. I know my stage. I know how to stage this. I know what to do. And I came in with some of that, but this play is very different because there aren't designated scenes. It's sort of like we have to make that up as we go along. Where is it? Where is there a transition? Where is the new beat? And we're not playing up these transitions. These 30 years move through the play. So I don't know if I'm explaining that quite well, but this is a different way of working to a certain extent. So the play that the two of them do together, we discover a lot. We discover, how we move through this play. And I mean literally move. So that was a challenge, even but really fun last night. I came home and I have a long drive getting home, and I was thinking about it the whole night, going, that works great. So I was having a lot of those feelings about it, and excited to see what we do for our next rehearsal.
You kind of mentioned this idea of like your vision of kind of what you had in your head beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
What is your process of kind of like translating that? Do you like I'm sure it's a lot of trusting with the actors and working with the script.
Oh.
Like, what's kind of like your stream for that?
Well, I absolutely trust the actors. And being, I'm an actor first myself. So always what's going through my head first is everything as an actor. I'm delving into each one of them. Doesn't mean that's what's going to be on the stage, but
Sure.
that process is going through my head. So it's, when you're an actor, you've got your one point of view. It's yours as the character. And when you're directing, you're looking at all the points of views, and then you have the whole picture to put together. I love both, but I am so glad that I always start from an actor's viewpoint. It's really the only way I can do it.
And it probably feels more authentic for the audience if from an actor standpoint kind of what to do and how to bring it to life.
Well, I hope so. For me, always the challenges with directing is what I've gained from my acting experience. I don't always have technically. So when we get into our tech rehearsal, I'm always like, "Oh, this is what I want. I can tell you the feeling. I don't know how to make it happen." So that's the difference. Some directors do. They have that. They understand that more than I do. But luckily, I rely on a great team, and they get me through it. So I'm okay.
Kristen, what is your process for kind of translating your character from the page to the stage?
Oh, a lot of the experiences that this character is having or contemplating having, I have lived. That's not always the case with characters that I have, but so many things this character has gone through, I have also gone through. So it's deeply personal. It's deeply personal. And so it's kind of excavating my own life. Okay, I can pull from this, I can pull from that. And I have a lot to pull from. I mean, she's contemplating becoming a mother. I am a mother. She's had some challenges along the way. I've had those challenges. Don't worry, husband. Partner's not the exact same. I always worry about that crossover, but it's real. She's real with real relatable challenges that I think if you haven't yet experienced all of them, you have experienced something, and you'll carry that through the play, that lens. Like Julia said, it's universal. there is something that everyone can latch onto. They have had that experience. They've had that challenge, that conversation, that gross, I shouldn't have said that. We all have those sticky moments, and this play doesn't shy away from that.
It sounds like it's almost therapeutic in a way to be able to see yourself in this character and kind of process some of that.
Yeah, it really is. And as I'm working on these lines, just like weeping in my kitchen like a crazy person, but you connect so deeply to these characters you play. And I think that's what brings them alive. And yeah, therapy indeed, just working your way through it.
Connor, what's your process? I know you have to follow her, and that was a fantastic answer. I'm sorry.
That was a fantastic answer. Kind of piggybacking off that, though, it is very much pulling from my life experiences, because, I do not have kids. I don't come from the same background that Kristen does, or her life experiences. So I have to put myself in the given circumstances of that character. This guy who has daddy issues and confidence issues and needs that validation. You look to the different parts of your life, people I know, try to pull from those life experiences that I have and try to translate that the best I can into the character and for the audience.
That's also a fantastic answer. So, one final question for all of you before we wrap up is just, what are the themes from the show that resonate the most with you? And Julia, I'm gonna give you the floor first.
Love.
Important one.
Absolutely. Responsibility to each other, to the earth. I'm going to share something because this is something that came out of the collaboration with our designers, which they were so great. And this was our production meetings were full of life, and I was just thrilled about the whole process. But one of the things, just from adjectives, what we ended up with was a nursery. And nursery has many different meanings. It's fostering the development of something. And then we looked at, a nursery. It's even mentioned in the script, a baby, right? It's the foster the development of a baby in a nursery, or a nursery where you raise little trees from seedlings to be transplanted. And then I also think it has to do with tipping point theater. What we're doing, we're fostering creatives. We are fostering new work and art and all of that. So the whole idea behind it, I thought, that's what I see the play is about. It's fostering development.
Kristen, how about for you?
Love, truth, responsibility.
Connor, how about for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but also love and what love truly means, between two people. There are many definitions of love, many different styles and ways to love. Also, the story and our responsibility to this earth that we live on. And then the theme I also love is the theme of what is a conversation. It comes up a lot in this play. And, you internalize a lot of conversations that you have. Sometimes you're not truly listening to understand. You're just listening to kind of respond. And I feel like this show, has already taught me to, slow down and really be present for the conversations I have with the people in my life, friends and family. And
that's a great one. As a couples therapist, I'm always working with people to how do you converse and how do you understand somebody? And, a lot of the time you're right. We're just trying to respond and not respond to comprehend and to understand. And that's where a lot of conflict comes from. So thank you so much, all three of you, for your time. I really appreciate it. Lungs runs at the Tipping Point Theater from May 7th through June 1st. So get your tickets now and we'll see you there.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.